I really believe that this is the golden age for humans to really shine and to
Interesting.
bring out our humanity and how we connect and work with people.
AI is only as strong as your mindset.
We are human beings. We're not machines, and nothing is going to replace us.
Today, we are diving into a conversation that is both timely and transformational: the conscious code, rewiring mindset in the age of AI. My guest today is Courtney A. Seard, a certified executive performance coach, strategic consultant, trainer of NLP and hypnosis, TEDx and Live Nation SME speaker with over 2 decades of experience coaching top executives and building high performing teams. Courtney blends neuroscience, mindfulness, and conscious leadership with the power of AI. And in this episode, she's flipping the script on how we view technology, reminding us that AI isn't here to replace us, it's here to reveal us. We're exploring how to partner with AI to free up creativity, sharpen consciousness, and amplify what makes us uniquely human. If you've ever wondered how to thrive, not just survive, in an AI powered world, this episode will rewire the way you think about what is possible. So, Courtney, thank you so much for coming back today. I appreciate having you on the show. And I want to start with, why do you think that this conversation is important? This conversation about consciousness, performance, and AI technology. Why is this important right now?
I believe it is critically important right now because I'm watching some of the smartest minds in the world spin out, looking at this as something that's a tool that's going to take away from them, or it's just kind of, I would say, fostering and sparking all of these fears and negative emotions and negative beliefs. And I really think that people need to kind of reassess and understand this moment in time that we're in is incredibly unique. We had the industrial revolution. I think we're in the technological revolution. And instead of people freaking out and running and saying, I don't want to use it, embrace it and realize that it's an asset to you. We are human, and I'm pro-human. And I think that the thing that's going to separate us is if we bring our humanity and we realize that we're not machines, we're human. And how do we out humanize the computer while utilizing all of the great things that a computer can do for us?
Amazing. So, when you think about AI and you think about human potential, what excites you the most right now?
Oh, well, realistically, what excites me the most is the freeing up of human capacity to actually think and create and ideate rather than just doing. It allows us to actually become human beings rather than humans doing.
Right.
Personally, I have been into AI for, I'd say now, probably since 2022. I was in New York listening to a kind of like a round table with a professor from Wharton School of Business. He was the head of entrepreneurism, and he said, I make all of my students use AI. And this is before Chat GTHP was super big. And he said that because the
Yeah.
reality is that it's going to allow you to actually have the time to think of better strategic solutions rather than recreating the hamster wheel. Listening to him, I started to adopt this into my life and really began to see that I actually did have a lot more time to ideate, to slow down, to think. I wasn't
Yeah.
in this crazy hamster wheel of busy work, which I think a lot of people can misconstrue busy with productive. And to
Yes.
me, the aha moment was realizing that, you know what, Courtney, you weren't as busy as you thought. You weren't as productive as you thought. You were just spinning in circles. And this has allowed me not to spin in circles. And the thing that I love and how I know that it's not going to take away from me is that I utilize this with all of my clients, whether they
Amazing.
be, B2C, so my one-on-one coaching customers, or my larger corporate clients. And one of the things that I really want individuals to do is to embrace it, to not wait for your organization if you're in an org, or not wait for the rest of the world, but start practicing and adapting and playing and allowing it to be a part of your day-to-day life. It doesn't take over your life. AI does not
Yeah.
execute. It
No.
ideates. Maybe a couple of bots can execute emails, yet it ideates. It gives you clarity, but you still and execute. You still have to go out there and make that human connection. And if you're not good with people, you're not good with people. And I firmly believe that this is the time where the human really gets to shine. Because with
Right.
so much more automation, with so much more AI and the computers running the world, people get frustrated. You hear all the time the memes with a person hitting 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and they get hung up on, right? So imagine when you do run into someone who isn't rude, who isn't curt, who can see you, who has the skills to, within 10 to 15 seconds, build deep rapport and connection, and then take you on to the next step. So I really believe that this is the golden age for humans to really shine and to
Interesting.
bring out our humanity and how we connect and work with people. And the things that, we wasted our time on, me wasting my time on so many things, I have the assistance of what I consider a robust data aggregate of research that can help and support me, which allows me, and I think this is a small amount of time for, small businesses and entrepreneurs to really play with the big boys because you, in
Yeah.
essence, have the same data aggregation process. You have the same access to research as a EY, as a McKinsey, as a Deloitte and Touche. And I know though this for truth because those are some of my clients and they are actually
Yeah.
struggling internally with a lot of the small and those medium businesses who have used them for consulting. They're turning to AI. So it is a level set where it allows you to have this barrier to entry is over if
Right.
you are open to early adopting.
Interesting. I want to go back to what you said a little bit earlier where you mentioned that this is going to free up humans to be able to think more. What about people who are saying that using AI is diminishing our ability to think?
If you're using AI as your brain, absolutely. Because then you're in groupthink. It's the same. And what's different between when someone said Google it? Because let's
Right.
be realistic, all AI is doing is pulling from all of these robust systems. So it's a faster, more in depth, more robust Google. Maybe it's a Google, it's a Bing, and it's a Wikipedia, and 10 other things that we didn't know. To me, the thing is that it's not going to take away because you still have to have critical thinking. You still have to have
Right.
the ability to process thought and reason.
Hmm.
And it hasn't taken away from individuals who know how to critically think, know how to work with it. If you have a limited way of thinking, if you have a surface level prompt or thought process, you're going to get the generic material. But just like anything, as a coach, the question is the answer. And some of the most profound coaches know how to ask some really profound, in depth answers. And I believe that is the same here, where it has nothing to do with the machine and everything to do with the person who's stepping up to the machine.
Okay. So, how do we begin to rewire our thinking in the age of AI? And why is that critical for us to do right now?
It's so critical because, again, I think right now everyone is just freaking out. And
Yeah.
when you are in a fear mindset, you have no way to think ideation. You go into fight or flight, all of those things that
Hmm.
happen to your system, you shut down and it becomes the worst case scenario. But I fundamentally believe that when you shift your view from thinking that AI is a threat rather than a collaborator with you, allows you to have like a deeper, more profound understanding of how you can show up as a leader. And I tell a lot of the leaders that I work with, "AI is not going to replace you. What is going to replace you is a person who is comfortable using AI as a partner.
Yeah.
However, it really is going to allow you to sit there and think and come up with a lot more. How do I put this? A lot of times in business, strategy is created based on need and it's incredibly reactionary rather
Uh-huh.
than it being proactive. And this allows you to actually sit and think 10 steps ahead because you're not responding to 15 things. You're not deep diving on research. You're not doing all of these repetitive tasks. So for me, I think that it's exposing truly what I mentioned before, the difference between the person who said, "Oh, I'm getting so much done," but they were just busy because they didn't
Hmm.
have good focus versus that person who's being more strategic. It is going to make you have to really think about, are you creating tangible results that move the needle? And I think
Right.
that's what's making people a little bit nervous because we've
Mhm.
lived in a world of fluff, a world of jargon and ideation, a world of, oh, here's this report, but no one really thinks about the outcome. Rarely do people get to the outcome.
Yeah.
This is going to force us looking at the ROI consistently. And I think for a lot of people who, like to just pontificate, and as I like to tell people all the time, everyone has a great idea, but can you actualize it?
Yeah.
Everyone has a great idea, but can you actually take the steps to execute that idea? And for me, I think that AI, if you're using it properly, all of the time that you spend with the spinning wheels of thinking, you have something else that can help you think. You have to obviously go in, reiterate, add your own, feel to it, cut, paste, edit. I don't use AI and it just does everything for me. I still am heavily involved in my voicing and my messaging. But guess what? That involvement allows me to train my dragon so my response is better the next time. But then what
Yeah.
it does do is for me, it's execution. I have an assistant and we meet once a week. And because he is managing a lot of the AI employees that I have within my organization, just the amount of completion and execution and bandwidth and the things that we're thinking about now, I never would have had that ability 2 years ago. And I say the same thing for a lot of the clients that I work with now, where I'm telling the team leaders, do not wait for your organization. Create systems
Mhm.
inside your teams and your groups to ensure that your teams are AI efficient. They have this proficiency. Start
Yeah.
integrating these things inside because you, as a senior vice president, you, as the director, you own your org and you do,
Mhm.
and you have budget. So, all of that L&D budget, I love it. All about emotional intelligence. Get them a book, have them watch a masterclass, but take that money and get them trained in a skill that's going to upskill them so that
Yeah.
you and your team are isolated from whatever changes come in because they know that you're the people to go to who understand and that you know what these pieces of technology are and you're using them. Because I firmly believe that blockchain and AI, they are only technological platforms. They're operating
Okay.
systems. They're not people. They're not robots. And I think if you want to be afraid, and I say, why would you even dive into fear? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
You should actually look at robotics way more than you should look at AI because,
Right.
at the end of the day, again, AI does not execute.
Mhm. But robotics could. Is that what you're
Robotics can execute,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm not either or. I firmly
Okay.
believe that, and this is my thought process. So this is an interesting point of view. I have this point of view, but I don't think that anything on this planet wasn't granted to us by the creator.
Yeah, I agree.
So I believe that this is something that is for us to use. And like anything, a hammer can be used to build a house or it can be used to break a person down or take a house down. It's all in how you look at it. And that's why I think that our consciousness collectively as a human society needs to be geared towards how this is an add-on rather than as this
Yeah.
dystopian fear that it's going to take our lives away from us. Because you, like me, we have a training in something called NLP. You get what you focus on.
Yep.
So why not focus on what you want rather than focus on your fears and knowing that this isn't, woo woo, it's actually quantum physics. Why would you attract that to you? I think that, so many people have asked for free time. Well, this is going to allow you to have the free time. I'm
Right.
painting again.
Yeah.
This painting behind me
Amazing.
is brought to you by AI. It's not AI did it, I did it. But I actually
Yeah.
had time instead of me being up all night
Mhm.
writing, reviewing, looking at SEO numbers for my next newsletter. I was
Yeah.
able to actually paint.
Yeah.
How great is that?
Amazing. And it's, 'cause the way that I see it is I see this as an opportunity for humans. We're entering a new renaissance period where art is going to flourish and ideas because we're like you're saying, we're going to have the space to do these things. But I don't see a future where we're going to want to watch robots dancing or listen to a robot sing a beautiful song. That's always going to be human. And so I see this opening up the arts for us and putting an emphasis on human creation now that before we were just so busy doing these things that weren't as important to us. But Got to pay the bills. Now we'll have time and space to do it. Yeah.
I 100% agree. And a lot of people are like, well, let's talk about all of the AI actors and all of these things that are taking away from Hollywood. Okay, so that's an interesting case study.
Yeah.
People, the actual end user, they don't feel the same heart and soul. And they're the actual client and customer. They're going to be the ones consuming this and allowing a business to grow, right? People
Yeah.
still want to see humans. And you, like me, know. I know when something's CGI or not.
For sure.
As much as the brain doesn't know the difference between real, remembered, and, imagined, we still do. That's just something that's innately what we have at, like, this distinction system inside of us. So I don't want to watch a bunch of AI developed content because it's not that smart. And it
No.
doesn't bring me as much joy as hearing the story of a human being. And I think that a lot of these takes on AI are from people who are kind of clickbaiting.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, fear is a huge driver. I did a little bit of research. The most clicked articles on AI are not the ones that are all about optimism and how it's going to save your job and allow you to do your job better and teaching you how to write better prompts. It's all about, it's going to take my job. It's ruining the environment.
Yes.
It's going to do this. And it's like, okay, so if you want to be in the doom and gloom, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
You're correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of machinery did take away from manual labor. But guess what also the Industrial Revolution did? It stopped child labor,
Yeah.
right? There are
Yep.
so many things that, nothing is perfect. However, I don't look at this as being the doom and gloom end all be all. But what I can say is we're in a very unique inflection point where things are exponentially changing and the ability of these systems are growing and growing. So your barrier to entry and being able to catch up is shrinking. Get involved now. There are so many free courses that you can take from MIT
Yeah.
to Harvard to, University of London, Cambridge, around a numerous amount of where do you want to be in the AI world? You need to upskill yourself
Yeah.
because a lot of a lot of countries right now are reinvesting in upskilling around AI because they realize it's coming and it's happening. So instead of them pushing it away, they're reinvesting in how do we ensure that our workforce is apt and adjust to deal with these changes. It's no different than
Yeah.
coding. I sit on the board of a computer science college in Utah.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who, when I made the announcement, they're like, well, you're also on the board of this AI HR software company. So isn't that counterintuitive since the coders aren't going to have a job since AI? And I'm like, you just don't get it. Like they still are going to need humans to code. But there's
Yeah.
also your cybersecurity aspect. And if the model is only receiving the same things over and over again, it's only going to be as basic as it can possibly be. We are human beings and no one creates like us.
Yes.
And I stand on this firmly. There's nothing that anyone can do that can dissuade me from it. Do I have concerns around AI? Yes. But a lot of it has to do a little bit more around the environmental aspect and
Yeah.
less to do around the aspect of how it's going to take from humans. Human beings are incredibly resilient as a species. This
Yeah.
may seem a little bit curt, but Darwinism exists for a reason. If you can't figure out a way
Mhm.
to adapt, but
Yeah.
our Earth is millions of years old. Adaptation is a part of that survival. And I really believe that, what you resist, persist. This isn't going anywhere. Adapt, have fun with it, play with it. And some of my
Yeah.
most stringent anti-AI friends, coaching clients, training clients, the more and more I'm talking about it, the more and more they see. And I did a great training this summer for 2 organizations, one around retail, one around travel and hospitality. And it was about high performing teams in dynamic times. And every single portion of those modules, every single section, I had something around AI and them allowing themselves to be more comfortable with it and them training their teams and allowing their teams to explore and creating an environment of basically just testing and ideating and realizing that this is all about feedback because you don't quite understand the more you allow yourself comfortability with it. It just takes you to a whole nother level. And I delivered that training in the end of June and just the feedback that I'm getting from the teams, from the fact that, they're accomplishing goals that they didn't think that they could accomplish. They're actually having
Nice.
more harmony because what creates friction in teams? Misalignment, miscommunication, and deadlines. So a lot of this is kind of streamlining that, and they're just seeing a lot more freedom.
Nice. Nice. And I've heard you say that AI can act as a mirror. So, what does that look like for leaders or for entrepreneurs?
AI is only as strong as your mindset. So, whatever thinking patterns you have, whatever biases, whatever blind spots that you have in real time, it's going to show up in your AI. So, when you prompt, it's really important that you are thinking outside of your current box. So, that's why I say it can create this entire way of being, that you're not just allowing yourself to kind of be in your comfort zone and kind of be lazy
Yeah.
around the same thing over and over again. So, I think when leaders give like these vague, reactive prompts. How do I do this? How do I do that? Especially around strategic work, they're literally going to get nothing,
Right.
nothing. And the mirror is showing them that they haven't done the work. They're not a true strategic partner. And a lot of times they're completely stressed out. So what I think that when I say it's a mirror, it lets you know, where are you? Are you
Yeah.
forward thinking? Are you thinking about solution? Are you thinking about ideating? Are you thinking about creating? Or are you actually stuck in your problem, stuck in the past, and doing the same thing over and over again?
Right.
And I love this because I had a very successful VP, a tech VP who I do one-on-one coaching with. And
Yeah.
he was telling me, chatty every week we'd meet once a month and he'd send me kind of like how he was building his. And every month I was like, oh yeah, AI is not going to take my job at
Mm.
all.
Yeah.
I'm reading these things and it's having him spiral and what's he doing? He's focusing on the P. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And every week he's like, Courtney, this is
Right.
terrible. This is terrible. So I let him do it for 2 months because my job, I believe that everyone. And then I said, hey, I have some feedback. How about you and I work together and look at your mindset? How about I write these next 15 prompts for you? You can take the time to put these up for the next month and let's just see how your results are. And what's the one thing that I told you? Instead of you having your away froms, make everything toward. And if you need to kind of send this to me and have me do a quick check, I'll check it for you. And
Nice.
that switch for him, he's a completely different person because he's
Wow.
engaging with it. He's put his values in. He's kind of done all of his like intake in. And now he's like, oh my good, this is great. This is great. Some things I'm like, okay, let's change your thinking. I can't be there
Mhm.
with him 24/7.
Yeah.
However, he now has created something with the right thinking, with the right mindset, with someone who, is trained in that. And it's giving him a benefit that he would have never had if he just searched online and did his self help books. So I think it's an
Right.
incredible partner, even for coaches. There are some coaches that I talk to who are like, well, I would never, I would never. I'm like, why? There's only so much time in the day that you have. And at the end of the day, if our goal is that we truly want to see results and change so that people are living their best life, why do you care how they get there? This is a benefited tool that allows them, if they need that 2 a.m. support because something's coming up in their life, it can be there for them. And
Yeah.
you help them build that support. And to me, that's so empowering. I don't know. I get excited about it.
That is exciting. I'm curious how you're implementing it into your business. What are some of the things that you've been able to let go of or change in how you work?
My gosh, so much. Well, I
Nice.
let go of the idea that I had to be involved in every single piece as much as
Mhm.
what's really funny, you become a trainer, a coach, or a leader because sometimes you like to help people get out of your blind spots, but they're your blind spots.
Yep.
So a lot of my blind spots were around control, that I
Mm.
had to be
Mhm.
involved in every single aspect of my business. And this has allowed me to let go of the vine. I
Nice.
resisted for years bringing on an assistant. And, with the aid of assistant in AI, my email response time is a lot quicker. Before emails
Nice.
would get lost. Sometimes I do miss some things, some human being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just my data. I've been able to create some incredible benchmark platforms that can help me in real time with some of my new clients. They are beta testing it with me, provide really sound data on their ROIs rather than just saying, we did a survey. And this seems that we have 30% difference. It's like literal, actual real time data.
Wow.
One of the things that it actually allowed me to do is, get out of my own way and allow me to add more automation into my business. Where
Nice.
hence I can go to Pilates rather than spending exorbitant amount of time researching leads or global conferences or things that I can do outreach for. Cause marketing should be an ongoing thing, right? Not just when you have the time. Now it is ongoing for me because I don't just wait until my last project's over. So it's allowed me to be more receptive. Another thing it's done for me is, again, like, I'll tell you very clearly, all of my social is generated through and scheduled through AI.
Wow.
It's taken time. And I had a conversation with someone and they were like, yeah, your social, you're uptaking it. And I go, hey, can I give you a little piece of advice? Because I'm on their board. And they're like, what? I'm like, it's me, but it's not. What do you mean? I'm like, oh no, for the last 3 months, the posts that you see with the frequency, I'm using an AI platform and a bot, and it's married to my LinkedIn and my Instagram and da 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 da. Da. And she was like, what? Now
Wow.
again, it doesn't mean that I'm not doing anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, the amount of time that it would take me to think of one post and write it and edit it and
Yeah.
copy it and find the right pictures. That's why I wasn't posting with frequency. Now I am because that entire ordeal is out. And I spend 1 day a week, 2 hours a day planning
Nice.
post for an entire month. How's
Amazing.
it get any better than that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
yeah.
proposals. I
Yeah.
was able to create like a consistent kind of like proposal template where before I was pulling from other things and moving from this and moving from there. And now it's just kind of like put it in, get what I need. Obviously, again, it's not a rinse, wash, and repeat. There is time that you have to go in and look at it, pull, tighten it up. But it's allowed me to do so much more with my business, the things that I wanted to do, but I
Nice.
didn't have the necessary salary to pay someone, still a solopreneur here.
Yeah.
It's allowing me to explore things at such a quicker rate, and I'm having a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot more rather than
Mhm.
just thinking about getting that one thing started over and over.
Yeah. Do you think that there's another layer of trust with AI? As you're talking about having control in your business and that need for control, and that AI has helped you shift from that. I'm in the same place. I get that. But I find that I'm more likely to trust AI in assisting me than hiring someone who maybe I don't know if they're going to be able to deliver what I want.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at, right? Like I've hired a AI platform system where I have AI humans. My
Hmm.
assistant manages them, and then I manage all of them. So it's this kind of
Oh,
like idea of you're doing this day-to-day piece because, you're not just an assistant, you're like a director. You're a director of 6 employees.
yeah.
Me being the CEO, it's still my vision. So we're still going to have these add-on meetings. However, you're going to go here and execute here. It's changed my business so much. And I do have
Yeah.
trust, but I grew up, in the day where I used to write my own research papers. So I actually check my sources and facts. It's not
Nice.
just what AI says, because I also realize that there is a ghost rate.
Hmm.
The more people are using it, the more it's pulling, it's less and less. But I've seen some crazy stuff out there. And I also like
Yeah.
to double, triple check my faxes because, I'm bossy. I want to be right. And what makes me right is having 3 or 4 confirmed sources rather than just one. So best believe if I'm coming to you with something, I've done my homework. It's just
Nice.
instead of it taking me going to the library and using microfiche and doing the Dewey Decimal System and having like
Hmm.
all of these Lifetime magazines and encyclopedias and books scroll on a table, I can do it in a concise manner. I'm dating myself with
Yeah.
that rundown of
I was
getting
just thinking, I'm
information.
like, oh, I'm feeling old just even hearing these words right now. Is you're aging me on the spot. Yeah.
I was like,
It's
I'm aging myself.
I'm with you. I'm with you. What do you mean when you talk about having AI humans and AI employees? Like what do you mean by that?
So I'm a big fan of the things that you can automate and the things that do rely on your basic research. I am using a company and I'm not getting paid. So this is just me saying it's called Use Motion. I did a lot of research around
Cool.
organizations that have AI employees. And what you do is you pay a certain fee, and this employee has a set amount of, I would say, perfunctory basic ability to copyright, say. They understand the basis of copywriting and what great copywriting is. And then now it's your turn to talk to it, upload it, prompt it, give it what you need. However, I have a great copywriter now where I still do use a human editor because have you seen some of the A, B, C, D, E, F, Gs that come in? And again, I'm not against humans. I'm employing a person in my
Yeah.
business that I wasn't 2 years ago. If it
Yeah.
hadn't had AI, I wouldn't, because now I can trust the efficiency and I can trust that I'm getting all that I need. So I used motion. I knew the two functions that I were the most time consuming, that I didn't care about. It wasn't my unique ability. I wasn't going to learn it. So why am I even trying? And I paid for it. So I
Mm,
actually had to come and sit down and think about like the strategy that I wanted, especially when I'm dealing with my human who has their list of to-dos. And, the first month was learning, but each month, each week, it just gets better and better and better.
yeah.
So they have their own names. I name them and I
Nice.
let them know kind of like, this is where I want you to search. These are the conferences that I want. This is the amount of people that I want. These are the industries that I want. Please pull up all of the applications, the people who are on the contacts, do the search around LinkedIn. Okay,
Nice.
right assistant outreach.
Very cool. Yeah, that's
I'm telling
amazing.
everyone, listen, get a one or two. I'm not talking about big business. So, like, let's just kind of reframe this here. If you are a multi-billion-dollar corporation, I mean, I'm not here to tell you to like create an instance where you have a staff from 100 and you cut it down to two. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that sweet spot for that solopreneur, that sweet spot for the small business owner who, is somewhat limited by time, is somewhat limited by ego and the ability of thinking they have to do it all by themselves, which is typically you're a small business owner, you're entrepreneur, and just
Yeah.
experiment and taste the rainbow of freedom. It's better
Nice.
than a Skittle. Like, just try it. And to me, that's where, I know for a fact that if it hadn't been for the ability for me to be able to have someone manage AI, I probably would just still be doing my own work on my own. But with this, I gave me the confidence to know that I had them really moving the needle specifically in areas that I knew I needed in my business.
Nice.
I wouldn't say just get AI and think it's going to solve your problems. You really do need to know what you want out of your business. You really need to know where you want to go. And you need to know, like, ethically how you want to get there before you utilize these things. Because there has been some suggestions, some feedback, some strategy suggestions where I'm like, God, go kick rocks. Never. But on top of that, I
Right.
can say, how about we do this, this, and this, and this? And, well, one of my little bots' names is Patricia. She'll go, oh, wow, Courtney, I never thought about that. And then add on to it in such a way that I didn't think about it. And then I have my human execute it. It's great.
Nice. That's amazing. And what are some practical ways that people can use AI today to be improving self awareness or performance?
I think first and foremost, one of my biggest ways for people to improve their self awareness is to legitimately create your own AI coach.
Okay.
Create your own coach, train it. Like, if you don't have a coach, that's fine. Everyone needs a coach. I'm not going to say on its own
Hmm.
it's going to be better, especially if you realize that your thinking isn't as toward where you want to be. But train AI with your values, your affirmations, your goals, and keep adding on to it. I would also suggest creating an AI journal. So ask your
Oh,
AI prompt, like, what limiting belief is holding me back today? Now, the more you add things in, so you create your personal coach, you add in your values, your affirmations, the things that you kind of like you're using it daily, the things
yeah.
that kind of hold you back. You're coming in and saying, oh, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that. Ask your AI, what are my limiting beliefs? You'd be amazed at how quickly they can pull those patterns. It's pattern recognition. So for me,
Yeah.
I like to say that that is one of the most practical ways. Another thing that you can do, it's not necessarily AI. I think that automation is a form of AI. It's all artificial working together. But like,
Yeah.
people say vision boards. That's great. Amazing. We also know that the energy flows where your attention goes. I tell people create a private Instagram page or
Nice.
Pinterest. But
Yep.
I mean, how many apps are going in and out? So many people are on Instagram. Go to your private page. Look at all the things that you have uploaded in the imagery that helps you visualize your goals of your future success, your future leadership style, what you want to
Yeah.
have happen. And you're in that actual Instagram page consistently. Create your mindfulness nudges. Set your AI to create pauses for you, pauses to breathe, pauses for you to take a walk, to
Nice.
reflect throughout your workday. Because those are the things that we say all the time, right? Your brain only works well for 90 minutes. Then it's kind of like diminishing return. Well, I have my clients set your AI prompt where it comes up and it's like, it shuts your computer down. You have to go for a
Nice.
walk.
Nice.
right? Like to me, again, it's just also the modeling piece. So you want to combine your AI planning with your own goals, your own visions for the year, and then ask it, how can it actually to create a schedule for you?
Nice.
And it will optimize. What are the 7 to 10 things that I need to do in the next month that will allow me to get to here? And it breaks it down for you, bite-sized goal. So for me, it's just a really good partner. For some of the things
Yeah.
that I couldn't do in breakthroughs where I realized like the time was short or I could just send them this list and I tell them now, put this in here. Now, if you want to ensure that you're doing it correctly, I'll come review it for you. It's just allowed me to have so much more bandwidth with my clients. And they actually trust me more because they don't think that I am gatekeeping, that I'm saying, oh, well, that
Right.
chat thing is terrible. I'm like, no, what? It's great. Add that in. So I think those are some of the practical things that people can do to really begin to kind of just use AI in their day to day to help them with their mindset outside of work. And then I think another thing that would be helpful if you are thinking about using this for your work, start to integrate it, not to take away, but to add. Think about how you're showing up. Think about your efficiency and
Right.
just do a little bit of research. Am I doing double work? Am I using two apps for something that I could use one for? Or is there an aggregator that I can use that they can all start to talk together?
Nice.
Right? Like Notion. Again, I'm not getting paid from any of these people. These are just the things that I'm using. They bridge the gap and they link with this and they link with that. And it allows you to have so much. So I would, the biggest thing that I would say to people when they're really thinking about this is that I'm dating myself again, but I had a computer at home and I would go to everyone's kind of like apartment complexes in Chicago and I get these little discs that had 10 free hours of Wi-Fi from AOL. And I
Mm,
would,
mm,
and either you played with it or you didn't. And you got on the internet and you learned about the internet or you didn't, right? You became an
yeah.
earlier adopter or you didn't. And Malcolm Gladwell, who wrote the book Outliers, maybe like 15 years
Yeah.
ago, he has a reimagined new version of Outliers that just was released. And, a lot of what he's talking about is where we are right now. And I do firmly believe that if you're allowing yourself to just kind of dive in, slow and steady wins the race, you'd be amazed at how much it's going to help you. And I'm not talking about making cat videos. Want me to see
Yeah.
another cat video? I
No.
also love those AI baby videos where the babies are like talking to those are
Mhm.
fun, but ask, how can this be applied to my day to day? Please provide me 5 to 6 tangible. These are the things that you can say. Please provide me 5 to 6 tangible ways where I can carve back 2 hours of my day. Upload your
Nice.
calendar. What are
Yeah.
ways that I can optimize my time? And it will use it as a partner, not a replacement, not as your brain, but a partner. And when you do that, you'll have a relationship that's more collaborative. You won't be afraid of it because the only thing that you were afraid of is that you don't know it.
Yeah.
The only thing that you're afraid of is that you don't quite understand it. Because I'll be honest, I used to be afraid of AI. I did think that it was going to take away from the human beings and all of these things until I really started playing with it and realized, guess who's coding AI? Humans. And
Yeah.
it's just as limited as those 15 typically young guys. There are other
Mhm.
people coding in a room who are just like everything else, are only coming from their own perspective. So, to the degree that I bring in my perspective, my lived
Yeah.
experience, what I want to see in my future, it's going to support me to get there a lot quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think the future of human performance looks like?
I think the future of human performance is going to move away from people just kind of like getting things done, just cracking off a list. Like I did these 17 things done. And I really think that the future is going to be people are going to have a stronger sense of their self identity. I think
Nice.
the belief of future performance is people are going to get a lot more tangible, sizable things done rather than having 12 spinning plates. I think that
Yeah.
the future of leadership is people will actually be more fulfilled because they'll be able to identify and track what are the metrics, how do I change behavior. Constantly what I would hear when I would come in to do trainings is that, we had this trainer come in, we had this coach come in and nothing stuck. Well, this will help
Right.
you actually figure out what sticks for your group and you can constantly rinse, wash, and repeat it. That's how I'm using it. So can you
Nice.
imagine if you have the understanding of language, if you have the understanding of mindset, and you bring all of that to this big, beautiful computer, and you bring that with the aspect of that you want to help elevate others, it's only
Yeah.
going to give you what you need in that aspect.
Okay, great. And you had mentioned way back earlier in the conversation, you mentioned that this is an opportunity for us to become more human And I'd love for you to speak more of that. Like how is AI going to bring out more of our humanness?
Well, first off, people will have time to actually relax.
Mhm.
Right? So, just from the standpoint of where your brain is at, you're not going to be in your reticular activating system consistently trying to get things done and being spun out. You're
Yeah.
going to be able to allow yourself to breathe and open up your vagus nerve, which is the seat of creativity, the seat of possibilities, the seat of imagination and ideation. And I firmly believe that that is going to allow us to be more human because we can see things and actually imagine a future greater than the same future that's been replicated to us. I tell my friends all the time, I'm really sick of reading the same books, going to the same movie, even though it's literally not the same. Because it is. People have been so tied up and so busy, we can't imagine anything new. This is going to be one of those moments where a lot of new thought processes will be downloaded and a lot of new ways of thinking will be explored. A lot of new stories will be created rather than the same thing over and over again. I don't need a reboot of Charlie's Angels. I don't need the 11th iteration of Mission Impossible. I need new material. And I think truly that this is going to allow individuals to think differently.
Nice.
People will have the time and the space to imagine, hopefully, something greater. I grew up and the future was bright. I remember when I grew up that it had a lot of bright colors and we were flying and going to different
Yeah.
galaxies. And then at some point in time, everything became like this like gray desert, post-apocalyptic society. That's boring to me.
Yeah.
I'm ready for new sounds and music. I'm ready for people to explore new forms of meditation and new forms of hypnosis. And, like how can we create kind of, I would say, remedies that take a person from letting go of a negative emotion in 2 minutes to 30 seconds. I think that
Yeah.
that's where humans will be able to have the time to think about it. Because if you think about the Renaissance, which is the type of period that we're in, and you said it yourself, a lot of those switches to free up time from people having to do all of this work allowed people to become poets and allow them to
Yeah.
become painters. And think about it. A lot of those contributions we're still looking at today. We're still
Absolutely.
impacting
Yeah.
on them today. And that's not good, bad, right, or wrong, but what else is possible?
Mhm.
How does it get any better than this? And I think that like just the time of like you not having to get up and first thing in the morning, answer 18,000 emails and come up with this proposal. You have something that's automated that did that while you were asleep. And then maybe you can wake up and meditate and go for a walk and do some sketching and some drawing
Yeah.
and ask your creator or ask the universe to give you something, a new way of thinking, because it does provide. That is what I think we're going to get. Yet we're not there yet because people are still on this hamster wheel if I gotta go, 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 go. And even for me, like I woke up this morning and I had this like, and I'm like, no, like everything, what program am I running that says I have to
Yeah.
be on this like go, 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 go? And then I
Yeah.
sat and I got to visualize and a whole new idea came to me that I ran through a couple people and they're like, yeah, you should start working on that. If I had
Nice.
been in my business answering emails, thinking about like my next sales funnel of my next email
Mhm.
outreach to my re-engage my corporates, I would not have been able to
Yeah.
have the time to open that up. And I firmly believe that that's the magic that's waiting for all of us when we let go of the fear, embrace this technology, and just move on.
I love that. I love it. I have a couple rapid fire questions for you if you're game for it.
Of
All
course.
AI based. We're going to stick with the AI theme. Finish this sentence. AI will never replace blank.
People,
Nice. If AI could take one task off your plate forever, what would it be?
emails,
Yes, yes, agreed. And what's one thing you wish AI could fix, but you know it never will?
the lack of compassion in humans.
Excellent answer. I know I had the last guest on the show was Tiana Mamalik, and she passed along this question for you. Without knowing who you were, she passed along this question. If you could take one business decision back, what would it be?
So, my biggest business decision that I would take back, and this goes to why I don't think a person should reject technology, is I rejected social media and social platforms wholeheartedly. And I firmly believe that if I'd started off right when I got out of my NLP training and really doubled in on doing it, I would probably have not probably, I'd be able to have like that mailbox money where they talk about you being able to go to sleep at night. If I'd done more
Yeah.
automation, I'd embraced that form of technology a lot quicker, my business would be in a different place. I would be working smarter, less harder. Now
Hmm.
I have the memo.
Nice, nice,
Now
perfect.
I got the memo.
What's a question you would like to pass along to the next guest without knowing who they are?
What excites you the most about the next 18 months? And what is the first action you're going to take to accomplish it?
Great question. Now, you have a free gift for the audience, your vision mapping guide. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So 6 years ago, I created something called the RISE Vision Action Planner, which kind of encompassed you being able to have journal prompts that were created for you. Then there was a 90-day section 4 times a year. So you could quarterly reset your goals and then your consistent planner to plan things out. This is
Nice.
kind of, I would say, a more of a quick, fast version of that. It's just a vision mapping goal. It allows you to kind of look at what you'd like to get in your life. How do you create some actionable steps to accomplish that? And then you track it. So it's almost like a really small 14-day condensed version of the Rise Vision Action Planner. And for me, I'm excited about it because it leads into what I am going to be releasing in the next month or two, which is a workbook
Yeah.
around basically, it's called the workbook. It's called The Rise 28 Days to Resilience. It's your roadmap to resilience,
Amazing.
which is all about allowing and giving people the how to add resilience into your life. Because I firmly believe right now that one, you need to know where you want to go. You need to
Hmm.
know how to map out your vision, because if you go with the flow, you'll go where the flow gets you. And then the second piece is that we are in very interesting times, and those who know how to develop resilience, and resilience doesn't mean pushing through, it's showing how do you pivot, they're going to be successful.
Nice. And final thoughts you'd like to leave the audience with today?
My final thoughts are, at any point in time, you can shift your mindset. If you were like me, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you didn't believe in technology, you thought it was going to be the end all be all of humanity, you can shift and change. I think what you have to do first off is breathe, do some research, and then realize that we are human beings. We're not machines, and nothing is going to replace us. We run the machines, they don't run us. And as long as we remember that, and remember that they're our partner, and they will be a dutiful servant, just like your unconscious mind. If you program it to be, you will be successful and you'll be happy and you'll be able to spend more time with your family and your friends and doing the hobbies and the things that
Yeah.
you love.
Great. And I will make sure that all of your links are in the show notes, including how they get the vision mapping guide. That will all be there. Thank you so much, Courtney, for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me again, Terry. I really appreciate you and how you
Thanks.
service your community. They're lucky to have you.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate that. What a powerful conversation with Courtney. I love her reminder that AI doesn't replace human experience, it enhances it when we use it consciously. If this episode got you thinking differently about your own potential, go grab Courtney's vision mapping guide. It's linked in the show notes. And while you're there, hit follow on Success in Mind so that you never miss an episode designed to help you think bigger, perform better, and create the future you actually want. Until next time, my friends, keep shaping the future one powerful thought at a time.